So tell me where you're from.
I'm
Just
in
because.
Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay. Um, there's a lot of people that come onto the show from Arizona, which is
Oh,
surprising. It's funny how they seem to concentrate, depending on like the industry or something. I'm not sure.
oh.
Like, I don't think I've ever had anybody from, let's say, Minnesota
Hmm.
or South Dakota, but as far as Arizona or California or Kentucky, even like they just kind of Florida.
Isn't that
So
interesting?
it is. And just like
Yeah.
I'm in North Alabama, and we have a heavy concentration of people who were originally in Michigan, but not
Hmm.
Arizona. So it's just kind of funny how that works and how people migrate.
It is, yeah. Well, in our area, there's a lot of people into health. We have a lot of integrative medicine, functional medicine centers. It's kind of a mecca for health. And it's not surprising you get a lot of people from Arizona
Yeah,
on your show.
absolutely. Yeah, we're more of a aerospace out here.
Mm,
So engineers, everybody's an engineer.
wow. Are
Yeah.
you?
Nope, I do
No.
this.
Yeah.
So have you always been in Arizona or
No, we're from the Northwest, from the Seattle area.
okay.
We spent a lot of time there.
Okay, that area is also known for health and wellness, yes?
Oh, it is. And my university, Bastyr, it's the leading naturopathic university. So it's a big thing in Seattle. And a lot of naturopaths in that area because of that. They graduate there and just stay and open a practice.
Yeah,
So it's very well known for natural medicine.
that's good. I like
Yeah.
how culture and society and our individual locations influence who we become and what we believe and how things unfold for us.
Yeah.
Have you've always been into natural health and wellness and whatnot, or was there like a turning point? A lot of times when people end up in these types of industries, it was because of their own health concerns that they were
Mhm.
trying to heal.
Yeah. That was me. Do you want me to tell you now or
Yeah,
when
go.
when we record?
Oh, we've already been recording
Oh,
this whole time.
you can edit this
Yeah.
out. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
I
what do
didn't
we want
realize
to
that.
edit?
Okay.
We're just real
Uh,
people.
real people, and we're having a real conversation, that's for sure.
Yep.
Yes, I was very sick in my 20s. Chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia. Um, I got so sick I couldn't work. Moved back home, slept 12 hours a day, woke up tired. Nobody could help me. I felt like I had the flu all the time. I ached all over and went from doctor to doctor, and no one had a clue as to what to do to help me. So I thought, I'm going to have to help myself. I'm young and single. My whole life is ahead, and I don't want to live like this. This is not living. So I went to some health food stores and talked to people there and learned my diet was all wrong. I love junk food and fast food and hated vegetables. And I was a sugaraholic. No wonder I was sick. And I heard about juicing and got my first juicer and went on a 5-day vegetable juice fast. And on day 5, my body expelled a tumor this size of a golf ball, with blue blood vessels attached, about 4 or 5 of them, that looked like somebody cut them with scissors. Something had it was nature scissors or God scissors, phytonutrients like visitin and luteolin, apigenin, those cut off. They're known to cut off the blood supply, known as angiogenesis, the growth of blood vessels to tumors. And so once I got rid of that, I thought, oh, I'm going to be well. I'll wake up well tomorrow. Got rid of that thing. And I didn't wake up well. I was on a journey. And we now know uh, for natural healing, for anybody that works with naturopathic doctors or integrative medicine, it's a journey. It's not an instant. Take 2 of these and you're better tomorrow. You're on a journey of healing. And so I discovered that was my journey. I needed to stick with it. Well, I'd gotten good results. So I thought, okay, I'll just stick with juicing and I'll add in whole foods. And I went plant-based for that summer. And it took me 3 months, but one day I woke up and thought, I feel like a brand new person. Got a new body last night. I was totally well, totally healed. And then I thought, okay, I'll go back to Southern California, my life, my friends. That was the greatest cure on earth. And I tried to go back to the old eating lifestyle with my friends, going out, burgers, cheeseburgers, fries, pizza, that all that garbage stuff. And my symptoms started coming back. And that's when it dawned on me, this has got to be a way of life. I've got to let go of this awful stuff that I love and embrace a whole new way of eating. And that was a journey in itself, but it brought me to a place of real vibrant health.
Well, good. What kind of diet did you find works for you specifically? And are you like, yes, whole foods and juicing. Um, but what do you still do just plant-based or what kind of protein are you working with?
I am not just plant-based now. I need protein and I need more protein than I could get from vegetables that are vegan foods. I discovered I'm a type O and I tried for quite a while. My naturopathic doctor finally said, you're never getting out of this basement that you're in until you add in some animal protein. And when I did, I did so much better. So I eat clean protein. I eat lots of vegetables. I don't eat very much grain at all. Um, and I juice every day. I do a smoothie most days with fresh vegetable juice and an avocado blended up, and I sprinkle some seeds on top. And that's a great breakfast for me. I do eat eggs and chicken and fish, wild caught fish, and red meat occasionally. And we do lots of main course salads in our house. That is one of the biggest things we do. And I love bowls. When I go out, I love everything in one bowl and wonderful dressings that are good for you. Seed oil free. Excuse me.
Yeah. So I heard that theory a long time ago where your blood type determines what type of diet you should be on. And I was trying to be vegan for a long time and didn't really work out for me. Like, I don't know, I went back and forth with it for a long time and it would work for a while and then I would lots of lots of just life things. Like I got pregnant with my daughter and everything just kind of slowly went out the window, you know, and then when she was born, I started like moving back towards it and uh ended up um having eczema pop up from head to toe that were it was eating my skin.
Mm,
And come to find out, because again, yes, I went to doctor after doctor after doctor, and they all told me that it was just something, it was a food, it was an allergy of some sort, is what eczema
mhm,
is, and
mm.
that it was just something
Yes.
that you would deal with for the rest of your life. And luckily, I'm really stubborn. And I was like, absolutely not. Am I going to deal with this for the rest of my life? I'm in my 20s.
No.
Like, no, that's a long
No.
time. This
Yes.
is miserable. Um, so I finally found a holistic doctor in Tennessee that put me on an elimination diet, and we found that I was allergic to soy, which we had always known because I had some health issues when I was like a toddler, 2 or 3 years old, and they did an allergy panel, and soy was one of the allergens that popped up. But, you know, in the 90s, education was so limited, resources were so limited, and people just didn't really know what to do with that, right? So it was just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, you're allergic to soy, but we don't see that it's really causing any issues. So move on with your life. And so a lot of traps that people who try to move over to plant-based fall into is replacing their protein with mostly soy products and like highly processed
Mhm.
other like meat alternatives, which have the illusion, you know, greenwashing. Are you familiar with greenwashing?
No, I'm not.
Okay, greenwashing is a type of marketing where, you know, they use the natural colors, the greens, the browns, the beiges, and they put words on there that lend towards being healthier. for you. When in fact, if you look at the ingredient list and you look at how it's made, it's like highly processed and it's actually not good for you at all. It's just
Right.
greenwashed, as a
Right.
form of marketing to target the audience that they're trying to target, which is people trying to do better. And that is sicking, sickingly.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, I had fallen into that trap also, and that's why uh it was causing such an issue all of a sudden, is that the way my doctor explained it is that, the body is capable of detoxing all of the things and healing all of the things, but there it does get to a certain point to where there's too much of it to clean up. Like
Mhm.
if you're pouring, say, if you have a faucet that's pouring oil, sure, all over the kitchen floor, and you're trying to mop it up without turning the faucet off, you're never going to get to the end of it. You're never going to get it cleaned up. So you have to rework all of that. But I found I also have type O blood, and the the research, I'm not sure. I've never actually looked into the research of it or anything. It's just kind of something I heard years and years and years ago. Is that type O people evolved from, like, they were the hunters.
Mhm.
So they
Yes.
they need more protein, and they
Hmm.
need animal protein specifically. So
Yes.
like, I had a friend at the same time who was also vegan, and she had type A blood, and she thrived on that.
Hmm.
Like
They
she did
do.
absolutely fine. Meanwhile, like I was hungry no matter what I did. So I found that meat works really well for me. And that's why like diet culture drives me crazy, because there is no one size fits all. You really have to, it is a journey of self-exploration. And
Mhm.
I really recommend food journals. And so you can see, I ate this and this is how I felt. And then I ate this and this is how I felt, so that you can recognize the patterns. Because so many of us think that our diet is okay until we actually start, you know, collecting data around that. And then patterns emerge to where, oh, I didn't realize that I ate so much sugar. I didn't realize that, because the amount of sugar that is in processed foods that we don't even think about, because we think of processed foods as like little Debbie cakes, or whatever. But it's also ketchup, spaghetti sauces, any kind of canned sauces. Um, Mostly the stuff that is in the center of the grocery.
Hmm. Things in bags and boxes.
Yep. And even
Hmm.
cans, a lot of those
Uh-huh.
have a lot of
Yes.
salt, a lot of sugar. And you really have to break it down item by item and read what is on the ingredient list. And that gets really overwhelming really quickly for a lot of people. Do you cook? Are you a cooker?
Oh, oh yes. I make food. We make a lot of food in our house, and I think it's best if we can make our own food or get it as natural as possible. So we have one place called Sprouts Farmers Market, and they do organic salads and package them up each day, and I've gotten plenty of those. But the closer that we get to real natural whole food that we put together ourselves, the better off we'll be. And I want to talk about my new book for just a sec, The Truth About Seed Oils, because we need to get those out of our diet. Those are highly processed and so detrimental to health. You mentioned eczema, and so not only soy oil, but corn, canola, safflower, sunflower, grapeseed oil, rice bran oil, cottonseed oil, and peanut oil. Those are the seed oils have been linked to eczema, psoriasis, acne, and all sorts of health conditions. And people don't even know they're eating them because they're in so many processed packaged foods and restaurant foods and all just about of the fast food restaurants. People are eating them breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's just wreaking havoc. So the more that we can get those out of our diet and cook with the good oils, which are olive and avocado, coconut oil, are also good, is also good. Ghee, which some people call oil of butter, is good as well. And sesame seed oil, you can use, little bits of that in Asian dishes. Those are your good oils. Cook with those.
So what do you food prep? So do you cook like a lot in one day a week and then divvy it out for the rest of the week, or what is your process?
I don't. I just because there's just two of us, my
Okay.
husband and I. So I just make it on the spot, whatever we're having. But food prep is planning ahead. And I thoroughly believe in planning ahead because otherwise we fall back on, I'm hungry. I'm just going to grab the nearest thing to me or go get something, food to go that isn't going to be as good. So I really believe planning out several days in advance. So you know where you're going, you know what you're going to eat. You've either got it, you can pull it out of the freezer, or you've got it in the refrigerator, you've got the ingredients you need to make a meal. So many people have fallen down. They've had great intentions. They tell me what they're going to do, and then they haven't planned ahead. And then they're starved and they're just, oh, I fell off the wagon. I was just too hungry. So how
Mhm.
about you? Do you do meals ahead of time, big batches of anything?
So I don't really cook at all. I have tried and tried and tried and tried to learn. It's not a gift I was given. But I am blessed to have a husband who does most of the cooking. And
Hmm.
then our son, he's 11. He also inherited his dad's way in the kitchen. So they feed me, thank God, because
That's
I
great.
struggled for a really long time with food. And, you know, I didn't know that my diet was as bad as it was until later in life. I was in my mid 20s. I was diagnosed hypoglycemic when I was about 14, something like, which is low blood sugar. And back then, the advice my doctor gave me was just eat more. Okay. Well, eating more doesn't it doesn't matter how much you eat if everything that you eat is nutritionally void and full of sugar, right?
Right.
And I didn't even realize a lot of it was full of sugar. I've never had much of a sweet tooth. So it wasn't really much of a issue. It was carbs that
Mm.
were a huge issue. The tortilla chips and the ramen
Yeah.
noodles and the toast. So, um, but we and I tried to plan ahead. Like I tried because I that's what I have to do if I'm going to cook. Every now and then I will, and I have to plan at least a week in ahead so that I know what I need so that I can go to the grocery store and get what I need.
Mhm. Yes.
And that's the big problem that a lot of people fall into is they don't think about it until the day of. And then
Yes.
you're
Mhm.
just scrambling. And you know, having to eat 3 times a day is obnoxious. And then having to feed children on top of that. And especially if you're in a household where everybody has different food tastes, and if you have picky eaters, I, when I was growing up, we didn't have the luxury of being a picky eater. You had what you had, and most of which was, the only kind of fresh food that we had, the only kind of whole foods we had was anything that came out of the garden.
Mm.
So we had beans and we had zucchini and squash and cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers. But outside of that, we definitely fell into the category of poor and we're not allowed to buy fruit at the grocery store because it was too expensive. And, that probably caused a lot of my food issues moving forward. But uh me and my husband's a picky eater, and his mother, I always make fun of him because his mother raised him to be that way. She was one of those accommodating moms who, oh, she'll make spaghetti, but this kid doesn't like these noodles, so she'll make different noodles for this kid.
Ah, no.
This kid doesn't like garlic or onions, so she'll make a different sauce for this kid. And like, absolutely not.
No.
But he has kind of turned into that as well. And kids emulate their parents' eating habits.
Hmm.
So when I was in my early 20s, I figured out that eating habits were everything. And I was able to pretty much heal my hypoglycemia. I haven't had a problem with that in years and years and years. But upon fixing my diet, I also healed a lot of seasonal allergies that were plaguing me so bad that I couldn't walk out the door. And I decided then, because shifting your food habits is difficult, especially since it's so prominent in your life. Again, 3 times a day, that's constant almost. And it's so intimate that, our relationships with food. And then it's so deep in its psychological and emotional webbings brought on by culture and society and media and what they say we're supposed to be doing. And things are always getting crisscrossed in the sense of this person says that this is the best way to eat, but then this person says that no, 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 that's a terrible way to eat. This is the best way to eat. So you really have to journey through all of that and sift through it. And so in my early 20s when I figured this out, I decided, and it was so hard because not a natural cook, never really cooked a day in my life. I almost, I was putting butter on the bread before I toasted it in the toaster.
Uh-oh.
That's how bad I was. Yes.
Uh-oh.
So I decided that I wasn't fixing my health, my food habits only for myself, but for my children as well. Because if I taught them how to eat properly, they wouldn't have to struggle as badly as I did in figuring it out.
Mm.
So, have you always been a cook? Like in your 20s when you were figuring all of this out, was it an easy transition?
No, I haven't always been a cook. My dad was a cook. He loved to make food. But when I discovered that I had to change my diet, I had to learn how to put food together. Prior to that, well, I cooked some and enjoyed it, but I also got a lot of fast food, picked up a lot of bags of stuff on the way home from work in my early 20s. But when I decided to change and discovered the power of food, I started learning more and more and more. And that's why I've written so many books. I've written 36 books. Most of my books have recipes in them, including the new Truth About Seed Oils. We have over 50 recipes in there. Um, People need recipes, ideas. Today, more than ever, I've found people just don't know how to put food together because they've eaten so much fast food and pre-made things and just pop something in the microwave or rip open a bag of this or get this food to go. So now when people want to make a change, they need help many times. They need recipes and ideas and tips. So I've put together lots and lots of recipes to help people get on their journey to recovery. And as we have both learned, you and I, this is your path to recovery because what we put in our mouth has profound effect on our body. And I often liken our body to a car. And if we put bad fuel in our car, we know what would happen. For example, you know that you can't put diesel in a regular tank. I almost grabbed the diesel the other day. I was in a hurry. I almost hit the diesel button. I thought, wow, that would have been a disaster because I heard about a guy that did that one time and his car blew up on his way to a meeting, an important meeting. So, but our bodies are more important than our car, and yet we treat our cars better usually than we could treat our bodies. We need to cleanse it, renew it, feed it premium fuel for our body. And most people are feeding it junk.
Mhm.
And yet they know they couldn't put bad fuel in their car, but they will put it in their body and expect a good result.
Mhm. Yeah, and I wish I could understand the disconnect that was in people's minds or that is in people's minds. We know soda is bad for us, and then yet we turn around and we still give soda to our children. You know, we know that we should limit candy, and yet my kids come home with pockets full no matter where they go. you know. Someone's always giving them candy, whether it's a teacher or a teacher at school or a pickleball friend. You know, we go play pickleball and there's always adults over there. It's like, oh, you want a piece of candy? Or, you know, even a relative that we've asked over and over and over again, please don't give the kids candy. And then they just can't help themselves, you know, like, oh, but kids love candy. And it's never made sense to me that, like, we know diabetes is caused by too much sugar intake. And yet we're just pumping everybody full of sugar. We're pumping ourselves full of sugar. We're pumping, like, I have relatives who are diabetic and they have a bowl of sugary cereal every morning for breakfast.
Oh, oh my. And
Yeah.
that is totally fueling that diabetes.
Yep.
And at the root of all diabetes and every condition is inflammation. It's creating a lot of inflammation in the body. Sugar and seed oils, the processed seed oils, processed foods, all of those refined carbs, it's all creating inflammation, fueling that diabetes. I've worked with numerous people as a nutritionist that have been able to get off diabetic medication and control their health with diet
Hmm.
alone.
Yep. I know people also who did, and I'm not recommending this like uh, in any way, shape, or form. Always do your research for everything. But I know people who have reset their body with fasting and went from a diabetes diagnosis to a free and clear of all things now diagnosis.
Isn't that beautiful? And I'm with you. I had hypoglycemia, and because of my diet changes, I haven't had a symptom just like you in
Hmm.
decades, it seems like. I can't even remember the last time I had any kind of episode with low blood sugar. So, you know, once you get to that place of so much better health, your body will talk to you. It'll speak up pretty loud and clear.
Hmm.
I love the idea of the diet diary and how did you feel after you eat this? Because the more in tune you get with your body, you will know, oh, I ate this and I don't feel so well.
Hmm.
This made me feel like this, or I didn't sleep as well, or you know, I have a little bit of a headache now, or I feel weaker. I don't have the energy. I feel more tired, or I ate this and now I feel like going and taking a nap. So there's so many direct reactions to what we eat. And when you get cleansed and healed enough so your body can talk, it'll let you know. And you can just let go of those things, hopefully, and embrace the ones that make you feel good. Because there are
Hmm.
plenty of foods that make us feel good. All those vegetables, clean protein, seeds and nuts, real whole foods.
Yeah, we don't realize how bad we feel until we start feeling better. And then
Yeah.
you go back and you're like, oh, I used to think that just part of being female was that your stomach bothered you every single day, no matter what. That was my teenage years. I was just like, you know, it was just normal to feel bad. And in my 20s, when I started, you know, shifting my diet and exercising and well, what else can we find to, because that's another thing is our diet culture is focused on deprivation and cutting out. And I think that we should focus instead on crowding out.
Oh, I
And
like that.
yeah, because if you're focusing on, you know, the more you focus on, man, I can't have that piece of cake, the more you want the cake. You know,
Oh, yes.
we're just designed that way.
Yeah.
And it just makes the cake bigger and more problematic. And then, like, you might deprive yourself of cake today, and then you did tomorrow, and then the next day. And then by day 4 or 5, you're like, you know, I've done so well, I'm going to have a piece of cake. And then, but instead of having a single piece, you have two pieces and you overindulge because you've been depriving yourself and it's built it up so much in your head that now that you're allowing yourself to break past that barrier, you do too much. Or yeah, there's a lot of different problems with the deprivation model. But if we can instead get as much in that's good for us, then you
Hmm.
like you don't even want the cake anymore. Because
No.
the sugar, what sugar does to the brain is the more you eat it, the more you crave it.
Absolutely. And it's inflammatory. It starts working on the brain negatively. Talk about setting yourself up for Alzheimer's or dementia.
Hmm.
Sugar, it creates oxidative stress in the brain. But I like what you're saying, and I believe the same thing because I had to, as a young person, when I was changing my diet, create a whole list of what can I have rather than what I can't have and focusing. I mean, this is the list that I'm not going to eat, but what can I have? So I decided to develop a whole list of what are my go-to foods. What are my comfort foods, my new comfort foods, my new celebration foods, and the foods that make me healthy. And so instead of, cake, maybe it's gone forever. You have a new healthy treat that you make with monk fruit or stevia, and that's your go-to, and you can have that. And so uh, I always want to encourage people, make your list of what you can have. And then with that list, write down, here's one more thing you can have. Vibrant health. You can feel good. You can be pain-free. You can have a clear, non-foggy brain. You don't have to have, like you were saying, stomach issues. You don't have to have acid reflux, indigestion, joint pain, poor sleep because of the foods you're eating. On and on it goes. You can have good health, feel great in the morning, a clear mind, a happy mood because your cells are happy. All of those things, along with the list of all the wonderful things you can have.
Hmm. I think that people get really overwhelmed with recipes also. So many times I go to Pinterest usually to find a recipe, and I'll type in s- hamburger meat or something. And most of what pops up is instead of an individual recipe, it'll be like 100 recipes with
I
hamburger
know.
meat. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I am so overwhelmed already. And then I just end up making spaghetti again because I know how to cook like three things.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I think keep it simple and find some recipes you do love or just ways to assemble food that you really, really like. And then, maybe branch out. You can Google or get a couple of books with some really fun recipes, try a few new things. That's what I love about juicing. You can get a lot of vegetables in, try new vegetables, maybe that you wouldn't have, and you don't even know they're there. Don't even taste them, but you're getting all of that goodness. So there are so many things that people can do. Just do something, right? In the
Mhm.
right direction. There's so many people that are not even trying. They're just stuck in a rut. So we want to get you out of the rut and into trying some new things, some fresh new whole foods and organic foods and putting them together in a way that you enjoy and your family likes. Gosh, you're going to start feeling so much better. And the more vegetables you can get, I really encourage you, the better you feel. All those phytonutrients, enzymes, biophotons, antioxidants, vitamins and minerals and fiber, life changers.
Yeah. There's really only like 15 recipes that people rotate through. That I read that
Mhm.
study one time.
Ah,
So it gets really overwhelming because we see that there's millions of different types of recipes and like where do I even start? And like sure, just pick one and start. Um, but when we're trying to overhaul our diet, one at a time is definitely key, definitely goal. But if you can break down even the bigger picture into a more manageable picture of, oh, I just need 12 to 14 recipes. I just need, and you start there because 12 to 14. Most of us aren't cooking every single day because that is very time consuming. And a lot of people don't have that time to cook every single day. So, something that helps us is that we cook every 2 to 3 days and we make really big portions so that we can have leftovers for a few days. And then we even take those leftovers and maybe reformulate a new recipe with the leftovers. We've we found a lot of productivity in rice. So we do a lot of Asian type dishes at my house, and we'll cook a huge thing of white rice. And then one day we'll have some chicken, some grilled chicken with like he does this creamy mushroom cheese sauce with onions and mushrooms. And then the next day we'll take that rice and make fried rice with it and have um steak or something, maybe the kids like to do homemade sushis. And
Hmm.
I know sushi like weirds a lot of people out. They hear it and they automatically think raw fish. Not all
Right.
sushi is raw fish. You
No.
can do imitation crab meat. You can do chicken even. There's this place in Orlando called Cowfish, and it's a restaurant
Hmm.
that has taken sushi and kind of they took sushi and American cuisine, so like burgers and chicken and steak and barbecue, and they kind of meshed them together. And
Wow.
it it's so good. It's so good. They've got like barbecue sauce on them or ketchup and mustard, and it just, food is art. And a lot of
Mhm.
us are stuck in the confines of what we grew up eating or what we're used to, what we think is normal. And you can do all sorts of crazy things with food.
Yes, fun things with food. So I love the big batches of different things you're making. It made me think about soup because I love making a big pot of soup and having leftovers. I love leftovers. It means you don't have to think and you don't have to work so hard the next
Mhm.
day. And freezing some to where you'll have a soup you can pull out on a day, maybe where you're really in a hurry and you can just thaw that out and have soup and salad. I have a book, one of my 36 books is Souping is the New Juicing. And I have a lot of recipes for soups in there. And people love that, or stews. So I love the idea of making a lot and having leftovers or having things you can freeze that are leftover. And then one day when you're really busy, pull that out. So yeah, along with you, I encourage everybody to get in the kitchen once in a while at least and make some food and make lots of food. And I'm back to my seed oils for a moment. Make them seed oil free. Use the good oils, the fruit oils, olive, coconut, and avocado. Get those nasty seed oils out of your diet because they are linked to everything from heart disease, cancer, diabetes, metabolic issues, even emotional issues like depression, anxiety, and aggression. So we want to get those hidden killers, I call them silent killers, out of our diet and get the good oils and the good foods in and get the sugar out, which is also very inflammatory. When you get that inflammation down, most people have low-grade inflammation, you won't even believe how good you feel, how much better you are, and how you resist colds and flus and things like that as well.
Yeah, we're really good at sectioning things off in our culture. We think that even though we know, I feel like we know baseline, just the general person, that food affects our mood. We so badly want to disconnect the mind and the body and believe that they're not related. So when you have somebody who's depressed per se, or someone who has anger issues per se, uh you send them to like a therapist or a mental health specialist, and I don't know what those therapists and mental health specialists are doing, but I never hear a friend or a family member of the person ask them what their diet's like. Because to us that's not related. It's not part of the issue.
Mhm.
But you are what you consume, and that means yes, food, but also like media and interactions with people and all of that. We can get like really deep with a lot of this stuff. But a lot of it is just sluggishness. If you don't have good fuel in, then you don't have the ability to, um, your body's last interest is keeping you in a good mood. It's too busy trying to clean
Right.
the kitchen that the faucet's still running in.
Yes, that is for sure. Its goal is to keep you alive. But I have heard stories about almost every emotional condition and people turning that around with changing their diet. I worked with one young woman who is bipolar and spent most of her life in bed and got off all of the junk food, the sugar, got on to juices and smoothies and whole foods, and it was gone. She was up and going, getting her kids off to school and going to the gym and losing weight and feeling like a brand new person and looking like one. I know of people who've gotten rid of depression and anxiety and aggression, on it goes. So, getting rid of two of the top things getting out of your diet, sugar and seed oils, linked to all of those things I just named. And then getting onto a whole foods diet. And you're right, very seldom do you hear anybody say, well, I went to a therapist and my therapist asked me what I was eating. I never hear that. Maybe once in a great while about maybe an integrative medicine person. But that should be one of the things that should be on the intake form. What are you eating? What is your diet? And let's look at a whole person approach because it really is a whole person approach. And I do agree, we are what we eat, we are what we think. And so our thoughts and our emotions are extremely important. Forgiveness is important, letting go of things, but it all works together. And so many people have found that when they changed their diet, they were able to address other issues much easier. We've had people that have come to our wellness retreats, their juice and raw foods retreats, and gotten rid of emotional baggage that they've carried for years and years and years and never have been able to let go of that to deal with it. My husband's a psychotherapist, so he deals with the mental and emotional and spiritual aspects, and I deal with the food. But I believe at our retreats, because they were able to let these things go, even though they tried before and couldn't, I believe it was because we were addressing the whole person and they were only eating pure organic food that was feeding their body on every level of their being.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there are so many people who are still really far from being able to eat clean, whole organic food. And, we could address all of those issues forever and ever and ever, from money to food deserts to the inability to garden or lots of things. Lots of things. Um, like juicing, for example, I imagine requires a juicer,
Mm.
right?
It does. Yes.
Yeah.
Got to have a
Um,
juicer.
yeah,
I love my juicer.
yeah. Uh, a lot of people aren't even willing to explore that because then, it's another kitchen appliance. It's another $100. And then you got to buy the food that goes into it. And I imagine juiced carrots don't go as far as carrots in a stew, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, this is true. It's amazing though. So many people that thought they couldn't afford juicing, they couldn't do it, and then figured out a way and said, "Oh, it's been so life-changing for me." And they were so glad they made the switch. So it's just amazing when you set your mind to say, I can do this. I'll find a way. Somehow we do. We find a way to do better. Maybe we can't do perfect, but we can do better and keep striving to do a little better and change a little more so that we can experience that better health. And I just encourage everybody to do that, to make that a goal. I've had people that have wanted a juicer so badly and they just couldn't afford one and then went to a garage sale because they were,
Mhm.
you know, believing, praying they were going to find something. And there they are at the garage sale, get it for pennies on the dollar.
Mhm.
So it's just set your mind, set your goals. And it's amazing what appears in your life when you're ready. When you're ready for something and you're believing you're going to get there, it's amazing what starts happening for you.
I agree also. Belief is 50% of the battle, for sure. And we never
Yeah.
want to fall into the mindset of victimhood. You know, everybody's journey is difficult in its own ways. You know, every journey there are no journeys without difficulties and struggles and strife. But each and every one of us could allow ourselves to melt under those circumstances, or we can choose to get up and try again, get up and try again, and look for ways to make it work for us. And I absolutely believed in garage sales and thrifting, thrift stores. My grandmother finds juicers at thrift stores all the time, for sure. Um, and then some might not work properly, but that's a $3 gamble most of the time. So,
Yeah, you didn't spend a whole lot on that. But yes, each person has a purpose. We all have a purpose. There's a reason why we're on this earth. And to fulfill that purpose, we need good health. Otherwise, well, as Robert Kennedy said, a healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person has one. They just want to get well, and we're focused on us. So if
mhm.
that's you, if you're not feeling well, time to get well. Set your intentions, set your goals. You will be well. And set your intention. You will find a way. There is a way and you're going to find it. And whatever it takes, maybe it's a few tries at a thrift store or a garage sale to get that juicer or to find ways to get more vegetables at a better price or organic vegetables at a better price. You'll find a way. And when we do and we start feeling better and better and better, those 1,000 dreams or whatever it is that's in your heart and your soul are going to come to life and you'll be able to, fulfill the purpose for your life, the reason that you're on this earth. And that's my goal is to help each and every person fulfill your purpose and to live that healthy life and to have that energy that you need to accomplish the things that you need to do. So I'm going to need to wrap up really fast here, but I want to tell you again, get my book, The Truth About Seed Oils. It's on Amazon, or you can go to my website, juiceladyinfo.com, or my landing page, The Truth About Seed Oils, and get some free gifts. I've got a number of free things on my website where you can get some recipes and Seed Oil Scout download, a free app trial for shopping that'll help you, just focus your camera right on the barcode and it'll tell you what's in that product. And if there's bad oils and bad foods or ingredients in that food, you'll know not to get that. So I really encourage you to get the app and get on a journey of making wise and healthy choices. And follow me on Instagram. And all my social media channels are the same at Juice Lady Cherie, Cherie. I've always got recipes, ideas, and health and nutrition tips coming out every day. So I'd love to connect with you. Come join me.
All right. Um, One last thing for people. I believe wholeheartedly in utilizing the other people around you and utilizing social media to better yourself instead of just endlessly scroll. So if you post to the people around you, you tell them that you're looking for a juicer or a crock
Mm.
pot or, whatever, the hive mind will help you out because most people are looking to help people and
They
whatnot.
are.
Yeah.
Yes, go to at Juice Lady Cherie, Cherie on Instagram. If you are in that category, post that because I agree. There are wonderful, kind-hearted people. We still have a great country with great, kind-hearted folks. And somebody's going to help you out somewhere. They might say, I've got an old juicer. You pay the shipping, it's yours.
All right.
That's a great idea. Thank you. All right.